The story began as the news pertaining to the disappearance of Navy hero Garp at Hashkenosu spread throughout the entire world. At Windmill Village, Luffy hometown, the people were confused as to whether Garp is truly dead or alive. The mayor responded to them in order to put out their worries by saying, "He's a man of many legends. Don't worry about him." Suddenly, a baby burst into tears and began to cry profusely because of what the mayor said. Her mother came to cheer him up, but she noticed that the baby tended to lean towards Luffy's image on the newspapers more often. She then deduced that her baby recognized Luffy as his big brother. Luffy's foster mother, Dan, burst into tears of sorrow as she read the disappearance of Garp's death on the newspaper. This was truly a sad moment. Suddenly, the scene took a dark twist as we observed that in East, South, West, and North Blue, a massive earthquake that caused the earth to shiver occurred. Great tsunamis broke out in South Blue. The people were terrified and fled to higher grounds. East and West Blue experienced a terrible earthquake. Death-killing avalanche of snow rained in North Blue. It was indeed like the end of the world. As the earthquake on that day had no parallel in recorded history, it caused destruction on a vast worldwide scale. Meanwhile, at Grand Line, we can see that Laboon is terribly afraid. The epicenter was impossible to pinpoint, making it a most anomalous seismic event. Perhaps it was unrelated, but the earthquake happened just 6 days after the vanishing of Lulusia Kingdom. It caused the worldwide sea levels to rise by about 1 meter. But luckily, Sabo seemed okay, as he was close to the erased Lulusia Kingdom. His speech over the transponder snail continued, even though it wasn't connected anymore. He spoke, "I'm at the remains of Lulusia Kingdom, and there's no trace land anymore, just an enormous hole in the sea that water are pouring into. Any further approach is impossible, and there's no sign of the hole getting filled up soon. At Kamabaka Queendom, the tides flooded that never before, disrupting her citizens from swimming at the beach. In several islands, the tides were so high that people had to abandon their homes and sail with boats because of flood and dangerous sea creatures like sharks. Some foolish fishermen in certain towns that thought the tides would make them catch big were strictly warned by their elders not to sail out. Finally, at Egghead Island, water levels continued to rise rapidly as the fight between Navy and artificial sea beast intensified. Egghead Island was completely surrounded with 100 Navy ships and 20 battleships. This far outclassed even that of a Buster Call. Their sailors totaled up to about 30,000. From nowhere, a destructive blast struck down one of the sea beasts. Sentomaru became pissed at this, but a soldier replied through transponder snail that the sea beasts attacked them first. Leading the military force was a group of 9 vice admirals. Admiral Kizaru was also seen in this panel as he spoke with Sentomaru. He ordered him to surrender and come back to the Marine, but Sentomaru replied that the next time they try that, he's attacking. He explained that the pacifista lasers were created after studying his powers, and we can see in a flashback that Dr. Vegapunk was staring at young Kizaru's flashy lasers. Sentomaru marveled that he never thought Kizaru would be the one to kill Vegapunk. But Kizaru replied, "Studying the Void Century is a crime even I cannot defend. I'm just another cog in the machine. This isn't a battle we want to have either. The more we destroy, the more we lose. Anyways, it seems like Rob Lucci and his cohorts failed to complete their mission." Sentomaru answered, "Yeah, it's because of the straw hats." Meanwhile, on a certain battleship in Egghead Shore, one of the Gorosei in charge of science defense, St. J. Garcia Saturn, was present. He instructed his officials to make sure no one knows that he's here. Vice Admiral Doberman reported the latest news by Morgan concerning Egghead Island. He said that, according to the article, Straw Hat's crew barricade themselves with Vegapunk as a prisoner. Saturn then asked for the current real-time status report. Doberman replied, "We have not received the mission complete reply from CP0 yet. Given that Sentomaru is still defending the island, we can be certain that Labor Phase is currently hosting Dr. Vegapunk Stella and 6 Satellite. The 4 Seraphims protecting them, and the 10 members of Emperor Straw Hat's crew whom we believe to be allied with him, as well as the agents in the lead force, Rob Lucci, Kaku, and Stussy from CP0. The rank-and-file Cypherpole agents appears to have been locked up in the Fabrio phase by Sentomaru and his Mark III pacifistas. The Frontier Dome barrier status is 100%, meaning that no one can get in or out. It's been an entire day and we still don't know what's going on in there." Observing this, Saturn then asked about the Egghead technicians and research staff. Doberman reported that they have fled the island, but we have their coordinate. Saturn replied, What if they know too much? Sink them! Doberman answered, yes, sir. But there's one more thing. The pirate Jewelry Bonnie is present at the island. On hearing this, Saturn ordered Doberman to leave her alone. She's just a girl. Meanwhile, at Egghead Seashore, the Marines picked up an unencrypted call coming from the island. The communication unit in Marie Joieuse also picked up the call, and the elders were online talking to whoever was calling. The caller identified herself to be York. She grumbled as to why are the elders trying to kill her when they know about the Stella's betrayal. One of the elders, Marcus Mars, replied that it's because she's also a Vegapunk. York answered that she has no interest in studying the Void Century. If not, she wouldn't have told them. St. Nusjuro took over the conversation, asking York for status report about the Straw Hats and CP0. But York replied that they ought to know already, since she's the only one that contacted them last night. She became furious and asked why is there an entire Navy fleet surrounding the island for war. Saint Shepherd Jupiter replied that they have changed their mind. He then asked her if she can create the Mother Flame. York answered proudly that she can. The power plant is on Egghead Island, but there's one thing that they must promise to do for her, and that's to make her a celestial dragon. Marcus Mars replied, understood, it will be done. So they settled their deal. Unexpectedly, York asked them to do something for her first. They became curious as to what is it. From nowhere, with a crocodile burst of tears and sorrow, she shouted, come save me before the Straw Hats kill me. Please come quickly to defeat them all. Suddenly, the four elders, Saturn and Admiral Kizaru, were completely shocked at this statement. Everybody was now well aware that this is a hostage situation and York is a bargaining chip for escape. That's the end of this chapter. More is coming soon.